Tromsø.
Tromsø.
Oh, this is the Paris of the North. I have no idea where I am. Let's go see if the crowd is friendly. Tromsø! And good afternoon. This is Jeremy and I am in Tromsø, Norway. 350 kilometers above the Arctic Circle. This is the far Arctic north of Norway. This city is the third biggest city above the Arctic Circle in the world. There are two in Russia that are bigger, but this is actually, Tromsø is the 12th largest city in Norway. It's a big place to be so far up north. And today is September today, and it's really not that cold. You can kind of see the fjord ahead of me. All the land from the fjord goes straight up. So all the houses are built on these roads with these very, like the residential streets are level, but the roads getting to the residential streets are very steep. So I'm just going, I think I'm going to reach all the way to downtown Tromsø, which I've not been to yet. I just arrived here last night. The drive getting here from Finnsnes yesterday was spectacular. Basically 2 legs of driving and then a ferry in the middle of them. So here's a little better view down to the fjord and the mountains on the mainland. Tromsø, this part I'm on, the main part of Tromsø, is on an island called Tromsøya, which is basically Tromsø Island. So the mountain that you see there, that's all on the mainland of Norway. Tromsø is actually, by the way, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I think that's how it is, the little O with the line through it. It's kind of like a sound. Tromsø. And the O, the first O, is like a oo sound. That's what I believe. Maybe I'll ask somebody when I get downtown. How do you pronounce the name of the town we're in? Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, this is the biggest city that I'll be in on this trip. The next couple weeks are going to be in increasingly smaller and smaller towns, and increasingly more and more obscure areas, including way out to the Russian border, as close as I can get to the Russian border without getting shot by the KGB. And I'm relying on Google Maps to tell me which streets to take, and I don't know if I believe what it's saying. Can this possibly be right? I should turn off this camera and check Google Maps, because I don't know if this is right. Hang on a second. Okay, I have checked Google Maps and I still don't know. I like the choices for the colors on that house. Bold choices, but it works. We'll go down here. I've been reading up on Tromsø tourist, like it's a tourist magazine in my room, and basically there's 2 things that people keep pushing here: midnight sun in the summertime and the northern lights in the wintertime. And this is September right now. I came in kind of an odd season. I came between those seasons, really. So midnight sun is over, and the daylight time and the nighttime is basically what I'm used to and anywhere. So, the sun comes up at 6 a.m. and it goes down at 6 p.m., something like that. So that all seems normal. But the aurora, the northern lights, are visible these days at this time of year. And actually, the last couple days, I've been checking websites that kind of measure the magnetic activity and tell you how likely it is to be seen. The last 2 days have been like really, really high probability, very strong possibility of seeing them, but it's been totally cloudy. You can't see them when it's cloudy. And this is the rainy season, so this is not the best season to see them, but it is possible. If I really want to see them, I would schedule this trip for like March. But then the roads would be so covered in snow all around the far north that driving would be kind of a pain. So I chose this season. Tromsø was established a very small settlement in the 18th century. The early 18th century, it had like 80 people in it. But the King of Norway at that time, very unusually, gave it a city charter because he wanted to promote trade for the northern part of Norway. And I think it worked, because Tromsø now is a very happening place. And then in the 19th century, Europeans were kind of visiting Tromsø for some reason, and they were surprised that the people way up here, way on the edge of Europe, were actually wearing like the latest fashions, and they were aware of news from the continent and from further south. They were like very, very hip and erudite and stuff. And so they started calling Tromsø the Paris of the North in honor of the people's sophistication. There's one famous kind of main shopping street and focus of the downtown area. That's where I'm really trying to get to. It's called Storgata. And I believe it's this way. And I'm already getting kind of hot. I don't think I need this coat today. The Arctic Room. Don't know what the Arctic Room is. A bunch of people hanging around a room talking about the Arctic. The requisite Chinese restaurant. Ooh, there's a crowd down there. Wonder what's happening. Let's go see if the crowd is friendly. Why, there's the great Ingvald Jacklin himself. Don't know what he did, but I'm glad he's watching over the town. Is it a theater? Is it a movie theater? Maybe it's AC/DC, whatever that was. That's an amazing, if that's a movie theater, that's amazing. Okay, here's the blue plaque. Verdens Theater, June 4th, 1916, designed by Mr. Amundsen and Albrigtsen. Norway's oldest theater? So is this the road I want? Look at this, whatever road this is awesome. Well, this is the Paris of the North. You might say Paris is the Tromsø of the South. I saw something on the internet that said that this was the world's smallest bar over here. I don't know if it's the smallest, but I've never seen one smaller myself, so sure. Right in the middle of downtown Tromsø. It's a good thing about Norway. Right in the middle of downtown, there is room for some empty open space and a church. A lot of places would just cram every kind of building and little shop they could, but you can breathe here. And you can breathe here. It's very nice and clean air. Okay, I see across the fjord the very, very world famous Arctic Cathedral. You see the little white triangle church over there. That was built in 1965, and I'm going to go see it tomorrow, I think. No, not tomorrow, 2 days from now. Drive across there to the mainland, see the Arctic Cathedral. And here we have the King of Norway. This is the amazing King Håkon VII, Norway's king, 1905-1957. And when I say he's amazing, I do confess I don't really know anything at all about him, but that's him. Apparently Tromsø likes him. That is a really cool building, the Tromsø Library. All these people in World War II. Larson. Maybe some of my ancestors. Oh, there's a name, Christopher Tiller. Awesome. And right here is one of the main attractions of downtown Tromsø. This bird. No, this church. This is a good place to sit down and check one's blood sugar. My blood sugar is 38, which is dangerously low. I am going to stop what I'm doing here and eat some glucose, which I have with me. The thing about glucose powder is each pack raises blood sugar about 20 points. You really need water it's very dry. Golly. Okay, 7-Eleven has taken care of me. I got a water, some cookies for later, and to bolster the sugar I just had, which will get me up to about, 118 or something, but a Mars bar. I just paid about $10 for all of this. But hey, keeps you alive. I just got some good information from the 7-Eleven. I asked the lady working there, I was like, where should I throw away my plastic bottle? She said in perfect English, well, if you give it to me, I'll give you 2 kroners back. If you buy a plastic bottle, just look on it. It says on the bottle, there's a little square with a little number, 2. That means 2 kroners for this, or 3, or whatever. I love that about Norway. Everything just makes sense. It's just everything's smooth and there's a system for it. I haven't been to an ATM or anything here in Norway. This is my first Norwegian cash. 2 kroners, about 20 cents. Is that right? So in a couple of days when I leave Tromsø, it'll be over that bridge. And the first stop will be at that cathedral, I hope. And I park at the cathedral, not tomorrow, in 2 days. I hope that I can figure out the parking. I hope there's free parking or cheap parking or something. This is what we call the post-low blood sugar babbling. Since I started this walk, the sun has gone behind some clouds and it's just instantly much colder. It's still not bitterly cold, but boy, you just feel here, like in this part of Norway, in this town, you feel like the heavy, bitterly cold Arctic air is just, it's either here or it's waiting to be here. It's always right around the corner. I think it's just fascinating that a town is this far north. A town this big is this far north and thriving, and everybody gets by, and there's 2 meters of snow in winter, and they're like, yeah, whatever, we just deal with it somehow. Tractors and perseverance and toughness. Oop, see a memorial. God, across the street to see the memorial. It's like Churchill. Who is this? It is not Churchill, it is Erling Brukjeldsen. Erling, who? Brukjeldsen. 1896 to 1964. All right. Does not explain in English or Norwegian who he is or was. Nice park, Erling. As I understand it, Tromsø has the most, or the highest concentration or something, of old wooden houses in Norway, I think. So you just see these amazing things like this that have stood here for decades, probably over 100 years. Still here, fighting out the cold, just dealing with it. In other news, I have no idea where I am, but I believe I'm going in the correct direction to my apartment. This is called Getting Lost in Tromsø with Jeremy. And it's about to be called Jaywalking with Jeremy. And then it'll be called Jeremy's Lengthy Norwegian Prison Sentence, Part 17. The local jaywalked, I'm gonna do it too. Seems like a good guy to be my cellmate as we rot in Norwegian prison for failing to follow the traffic laws. How old are these buildings? These buildings are the kind of building where like you see this and you just think, that's awesome. Parkering forbudet for en utskjørsel. Uvedkommende tas bort uten varsel. That's what I'm saying. I see gigantic hills. This seems right. This seems closer to my place. These hills make me remember, besides the northern lights and the midnight sun, another thing that is pushed a lot by sort of Norway in general, but especially northern Norway, is just general exercise, hiking and kayaking and all these things you can do here. What they generally are talking about is like the hills and the mountains and the fjords and everything and the rivers around here, but just basic living in a place like Tromsø necessarily means you're just probably going to be getting exercise. A lot of people biking around town and skateboarding even, of course walking. It's just a physical, outdoor, active place. And I think people are kind of proud of that fact. And they're healthy, so why wouldn't they feel good about it? Another cellmate. That makes three of us. That makes three of us that we're going to be in prison together for jaywalking. And you know what happens when there's three people in prison together, don't you? Jailbreak. Christmas lights already up on this house, or still up. God Jul, I guess, means good Yule, like Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas. You know, one thing I haven't done yet today that I promised I was going to do? Find out how to say the name of this town. Who can I ask? Excuse me, do you speak English?
No, little
No. This town, Tromsø, how do I say in Norway? Tromsø.
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 Ja.
Tromsø.
Ja.
Okay.
Tromsø.
Ah, Tromsø.
Ja.
Tromsø.
Ja.
Norge. Tromsø.
Ja.
Sø. Thank you. Okay, well there you go. There's your answer. Tromsø. 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 So I've been saying it basically correctly. I'm pleased with the way I said it. But from now on, it's not Tromsø, it's Tromsø. I'm in Tromsø. How are you? Trom. I guess I shouldn't emphasize it so much. Well, I'm going to Narvik and then Finses and then Tromsø. That might be a little unnatural. Okay, I see my place and I see the car. Thank you very much for coming with me on this walking exploration of Tromsø. Got another day here, and then I'm heading off further into the strangest parts and most obscure parts of all of Europe, northeastern Norway. So, thanks for watching. See you next time.